Thank you for listening in to our workshop introduction. In this piece, Jazz and I are musing our cultural narrative and reflecting on our transcultural selves. This is to just give you a little bit of insight as to what the workshop will be like.
So the way I'm thinking about this is that we have many different cultural selves, and your core cultural, there's a split between your British Asian culture and your British, how did you describe them?
My British identity and my Indian identity, and the kind of the impasse that has created in me as I've grown older.
And actually, the way that you've drawn it is of two separate sets of ego states.
Yes, yeah.
And there's been a real challenge of how you might integrate those. And I guess what I would say is that some of them aren't integratable. So if I think about my history of my working class culture, that goes back through generations and ancestrally, this working class culture that is located in my child and quite possibly in the DNA, I believe, as a real somatic child, is that then I now have a middle class culture, which I would locate in my adult. And of course, they are in conflict with each other. There's an impasse between the two. And this working class culture, very much of this sense of, don't get above your station. And then a very passive aggressive response to the middle class aspect of self. So that the conflict between the working class who despises the middle class and the middle class who has this sense of entitlement and one-upmanships to the working class. So that's the impasse.
And that really makes sense to me. And I've always been really interested in transgenerational culture. My Indian heritage, Indian, and I say, back in India, and my ancestral heritage is actually very much one of don't make it. We're a very passive-aggressive culture, actually, and I think that has been brought about through the colonialism. When the British took over India, there was a real deference to, the great whites, and there is something of that I live every day. In my current state as an adult, but actually that comes from, that also sits in my child. So it's the current reality because we live in a white world. I live in a white world, but it's also it comes from a history.
Absolutely. So it's like however much you might have updated those beliefs in your adult or have a different experience, there's still in your child that experience, and like you say, that transgenerational experience.
Thank you very much for listening. We're looking forward to meeting many of you in April and looking forward to really evolving this theory and this reflective process. Thank you.